Welcome back to the DJ Sessions, where we feature the best DJs and producers from around the world. I'm your host, Aaron, and I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in all the way halfway around the world from Ibiza is Sarah Main. Sarah, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, thank you. And you said it right, Ibiza.
Yeah. Well, I better know how to say it right if I'm going to get out there this year. I am planning to come over to Spain, to Barcelona for the Sonar Festival this year. Really excited to be out there for that. Yeah. So I'll have to maybe see if I can take a trip down. I got to remember my maps.
Yeah,
I think it's down this way, somewhere down this way. Yeah. But you have been in Ibiza for a long time. Since you were 19 years old, you started DJing.
Yes.
Back then. And this is after your stint as kind of getting into art as a child, as a teenager. And then you went to college and said, I fell in love with this house music thing. And, how is that? What do you consider your biggest break that launched your DJ career? What was that?
Well, I'm going to have to say that it was getting that gig at Pacha, because that really, I did quite well around Sydney and I played in all the clubs and everything, but like, I felt like I wanted more. So when I came to Ibiza, I get bored easily, but I came to Ibiza, and then, the first time I walked into that club, I looked around and I was like, oh my Lord, I'd never seen anything like it. And the vibe and the energy and the colors. And I'm like, I have to play here. And, I just got to the island. I'm Australian. It was like my first time in Europe, and, I was such a tourist. And everyone's like, yeah, like, good luck, Sarah. And I'm like, no, this is my dream. This is my dream job. I really want to get this job. That was in 1999. So I actually got the job in 2001. And yeah, that for me was the biggest achievement.
I was talking with somebody about a month or two ago, and they said, the one thing I was trying to tell them about my experience I had at this nightclub that I went to in New York City called the Brooklyn Mirage. And it's just a beautiful nightclub. I had never seen anything like it. Hadn't been out to many nightclubs outside of the West Coast, and fell in love with that club. And the person I was talking to online said, something that ruined it for me online is that I was 18 years old and I went to Ibiza. And after that, there was like nothing else was like it in the world. And it kind of ruined it for me that I can't go. They can go and enjoy themselves. They weren't trying to be snooty, snotty, or up, nose up in the air, but like, there's just nothing like it that you can compare it to. So it was such a hard bar to measure up to. And do you find that same experience happening to you when you travel or go around the world, that it's like Ibiza is your home, and, how do I compare having the most magical nightclub land in my backyard to somebody else's?
In all the interviews, everyone's like, what's your favorite gig you've ever done? And I'm like, yeah, I'm playing a Pacha. Like, it just is. It's just like, for me, I don't know, I guess because I've had so many wonderful experiences there as well. It is just a really special place, and it has a special place in my heart. But it's not just Pacha. It is the island. It is the diversity here. It's the energy of the island. It's so cosmopolitan, and there's so many different clubs, and you've got all the DJs here at the same time. There's, you're really spoiled for choice. And everyone comes here to let their hair down, and even, I don't know, the society here has that sort of party in their veins, in their blood, so you just don't find that anywhere else. You don't.
I'm sold. I'm getting out there.
It is pretty spectacular. It's obviously evolved over the years and everything, but you'll never take away that energy that the island has. So,
and what has it been with your experience seeing the rise of the United States electronic music scene? And has it been different than the European electronic music scene? And which do you find more appealing?
I guess, obviously, house music is originated in the US. So like, I wish I was in those clubs in that time when that was all sort of kicking off over there. Frankie Knuckles is like one of my all-time heroes. So, but I guess you're talking about that sort of next wave, that when sort of EDM sort of came, out. I guess like for me, that sort of time, that I felt like electronic music was very European based, right? And it hadn't really spread into the mainstream. And that was really the time when it spread into the mainstream. And I do attribute that to Mr. David Guetta. Like he was the one that really like put it out there, and he's a great guy and a great DJ. So how I see that sort of like propelled our industry forward. There was times where it was getting like stale and sort of losing its hype and its magic. So that sort of gave it that sort of burst where, that the EDM spilled over into the mainstream, and then all the other genres sort of were lifted up as well. So, I mean, for me, Europeans have electronic music in their blood. So like, especially like the Italians, like they love their house, and, in the UK, it is, there is a lot of electronic music. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just a different experience, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, because I was going to say, you mentioned different experience. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but in the late 90s, we were coming into kind of a grunge rock and roll over here in the States, and electronic music wasn't really on the forefront. I was going out to a lot of electronic music clubs, but hip hop and grunge and that rock was still very prevalent in our radio stations and our mainstream. Very rarely could you hear it on the radio. Yeah. Very few electronic music radio stations around. We have one of the longest running electronic music stations in the world running in our backyard in Seattle, C89 FM, that I grew up listening to at 15 and, the early 90s. But there wasn't much outlet for it. And if you went to a club, it was really underground in that sense of things. And we had more bands in the city of Seattle. We had more nightclubs that had bands playing in them than you did have a DJ playing in them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I came to LA when I was, that was in the 90s, and it was like, we were club hopping, going, anyone got any house? Anyone got any house? And they're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Yeah. It was all hip hop. So, yeah.
Exactly. So, would you recommend a career to DJing, a career as a DJ to young kids? And what would be some of the pros and cons of that?
For me, I think anything can become a career if you have an absolute passion for it and you go into it not thinking that it's going to be a career, right? I think that's what you should do. A job should always be a hobby that brings you money, right? Because people looking at sort of like famous DJs and going, oh, I want that lifestyle. I don't think that's going to work. I think the magic really happens when someone comes into the music industry with just this passion and this drive and like just wanting to share their music with the world. I think that's what makes a career. So if young people really have that same feeling, I mean, yeah, absolutely go for it. It's a wonderful job. Like, you're making people happy, you're sharing music. I mean, you're making people dance. I mean, that the energy that you get from that is unparalleled. So I would suggest it, but like I said, like go into it with the right reasons, and make sure that you're doing it with knowing that maybe you'll never make it out of your bedroom, but you're just going to keep doing it because you love it. I think that's the way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up, because I just was doing an interview and was talking about my passion for videography. And I started playing with a video camera when I was a young kid. And then like my dad bought the first video camera on the block. And I mentioned in the article that I was never supposed to touch it. And look where that got me. So it's a hobby that my dad said, don't play with $1,000 video camera. You're going to break it. Well, then I got into high school, started doing that. I got into making TV shows and short films and all this stuff. But you're right. It was always kind of a hobby in the background that turned into something bigger and better. But what I was going to, there was something I was going to touch on there, but you know what? I will come back to it because I'll remember it, and I don't edit my interviews. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Going into it, not saying like, if I said, I want to be Steven Spielberg, or I want to be George Lucas, and I want to live that lifestyle, or I want to be Quentin Tarantino. It's a goal to set for, I get it, but you got to still start somewhere. You're not just going to walk out and somebody's going to hand you $20 million or $80 million and Jurassic Park budget and say, here you go, buddy. You know, you made it to the top because you said you wanted to do it. You know,
and all there's a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication that you got to put into anything. So that's also got to be considered. I mean, and you know, there are like, you know, it's fun, but like you can, if you're a touring DJ, it can also be quite grueling, you know. So yeah, it has its ups and downs as well, but in the end, it's still a beautiful profession.
Absolutely. And you are getting ready to go back out and start doing some music festivals here soon. I saw Croatia is coming up in July. Yeah. Is that your first event you've really played out at since everything got kind of shut down?
The last event that I did was in September.
Okay.
We put together, because I've been focusing on art, which I'm sure we're going to get to. So we put on an art festival, which came out of an idea of me painting a mural. And then I'm like, well, if I paint a mural, I'm going to need music because that's how I paint. So why don't we get some of my friends to DJ? And then why don't we invite some of our friends, and then we can make it like a little party. And then it ended up just 4,000 people, like 40 artists, 10 DJs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like painting the mural, DJing, doing my AR experience, showing my NFTs. I mean, it was great. And we did it right in the middle of the pandemic, you know, with all the rules. And so I DJ to people sitting down, which is, which is, you know, people have been doing that like for the whole time. Like here, there's been venues open, but it's been strictly like sitting down. And for me, like I you know, music is about freedom for me. So it just doesn't work for me. So it's a very strange feeling, but like like literally when I was DJing, like people were getting so excited that they just, like in the build up, they jump out of their seats. The bouncers are literally running around, like holding people down on their shoulders.
Oh.
You know, insane. But anyway, now this year, everything's opening up. People are going nuts. Like I'm getting so many bookings already, and I'm not looking for them, you know, because I'm so busy doing everything else now.
Yeah.
You know? But I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to fit all this in?
Well, what was the name of that event that you put on in September? What was the name of that again?
It was called Miss Sunny Art Festival.
Miss Sunny Art Festival. Is that all one word?
Miss Sunny, yes.
Miss Sunny.
Yeah.
What was the meaning behind the name Miss Sunny?
Okay, so it was Sunny is the brains behind the idea. He was the one that came up with the idea of getting me the mural, getting me to do the mural, and we've done art exhibitions together before, and so it's his brand name. So
awesome. No, the reason why I looked at that, and it took me back to when we used to do rooftop parties. And one of the things that we did that I wanted to try to merge was not just the nightlife or music and dancing on a beautiful rooftop. We would bring in live artists to paint while we were doing our parties. And it was a hit. I mean, people loved it. Yes. It was such a cool aspect to have a live painter painting and going, the music's kind of really inspiring me to make what I'm making right now. Yeah. You know, and that was really, really cool. And sometimes we'd have a fashion designer come in and they were maybe painting on clothes. And I tell them, just bring a couple of your pieces, because it wasn't really supposed to be an exhibition where they could sell, but one of their artists brought like half of their exhibition with them and ended up selling 3/4 of it at one of our shows. And it was like, I never expected that to happen. They made more money than the bar that night. And I was like, whoa. And these weren't small items. These weren't like $10 pieces. These were like $300 pieces.
Yeah, no.
I was like, whoa, this concept is so cool because we're blending fashion and art and music and everything together in one place. So, I mean, so much props. So what's the word I'm looking for? Congratulations on bringing out that event, because I think just merging all that needs to happen more. And I've seen it happen here and there, and it is always a hit in seeing the art being made, because it gives music is great and looking at the DJ is great. And we all want to focus on the DJ and the music and bobbing our head and dancing. But in that downtime, and you might turn and walk away or go get a drink at the bar, or you're just walking through the club, to see some other visual piece of creation, something else going on, that you can just stop and be like, that's awesome. And then maybe like come back 30, 40 minutes later, an hour, and it's changed. And you're like, that's even cooler. Whoa. I mean, it's just, and then like at the end of the show, it completes. So, I just wanted to say that you're probably going to start doing more concepts like this, I assume, down the line as things roll out. Is that just a one-time thing?
No. I mean, we've got the next event. Oh, no, actually, we've got it's nuts. But and we've got a pop-up event next Saturday, where I'll be painting a motorbike helmet.
Okay.
And creating an AR, augmented reality experience off the helmet. So that'll be cool. That's in Barcelona. And then the next week after that, we do Paris. And I'm going to do like an immersive experience in a brilliant venue over there that's already set up to do this type of thing. So basically, I just have to put up my animations and my work on around the room, which I'm really excited about, and DJ. So, and then we've got a 3-day event from the 11th, 12th, and 13th of March in the ski fields here. So it's our winter pop-up, which should be really good. So we're like 50% physical artists and 50% NFT artists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something I'm definitely going to be talking with you about in just a few moments, because I was researching you before the show and checking out Instagram, Twitter, your website, and I came across a picture because you use a lot of color in what you do. Lots of color. I mean, vibrant color. It's like pops out at you kind of color, like awesome. And I was wondering in the moment before I clicked the button, said, I wonder if she ever does anything in black and white. And all of a sudden, boop, this tweet comes up, and it's a picture. It's in black and white. And you're asking for your fans' choices of colors to use. And I was wondering if that was something that you do often, is get input from fans. What would you want to do? And then how does that work within the creative process? I mean, if you get thousands of submissions, it's like, oh, I'll use this color green and this color pink, or it just seemed like a really awesome.
Something similar. It wasn't with the color, but it was for a name for my new NFT. Mm-hmm. And so I said, hey guys, I need some help. Like, what would you call this? What would you name it? And like, I got some brilliant responses, and it's a really fun way to like bring people into your art process and make them feel a part of it. Like, mm-hmm. I know when I see similar posts, I always get involved. I love it, and even with my normal art process, when I'm painting, I've got 2 people that are, because it doesn't always just from start to finish flow, sometimes I'm like, God, that's just not working. I can't find the right color. And, obviously why I'm asking people to help. But I have my father, who is an artist, who I always ask. And he always says, you've got it. When you look at something, if there's something catching your eye leading to one point, you need to balance that out with the rest of the art. So he's always very good at helping me like finish off pieces. And I also have another friend of mine, Odette Gegenheimer, who's a Swedish painter. She's amazing with color. So she'll always say, no, Sarah, don't use that, use that. And she's always right. So it, for me, that collaborative process with anyone is always, I don't know, it's like the icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, I frequently put out same kind of thing. I'd let people know who we're interviewing on the show and say, if you have any questions, let us know. And then I'll give them shout outs in the show if there's an audience response to your question. I do it almost last minute though, because I'm afraid that I'm going to get like, big list of questions.
Right. And then people are like, angry if you don't.
Yeah, you never asked my question. And I'm like, you know, it was funny. I was talking with the Crystal Method, and Dave Dresden was one of the first DJs that ever came and played on our show as a big name DJ. And it was funny, we're friends on Facebook, and I said, who wants to ask Crystal Method a question? And Dave Dresden popped in and said, ask him about this. And I was like, okay, this is kind of crazy. It's awesome having that kind of feedback though from people. Shifting gears just a little bit here, because this is going to get me talking about something I got to kind of make sure I rein it and hold it back for, because we were really excited pre-show to talk about this stuff. But VR and AR, and there's three little letters we're talking about. I don't want to open up that box just yet, but VR and AR. You've been talking about that you're doing your paintings, doing your installations, doing things, and you're using AR with that. I am so excited for the possibility of what AR has. You know how passionate I am, because pre-show we were talking about VR. But what has that experience been like for you, bringing in the AR experience? Because right now the glasses aren't out there in effect. So everyone has to, pull up their phone and do the experience through their phone, but the glasses are coming down the line. I'm going to just call them glasses because contacts aren't there yet. But when you make your AR pieces, are you actually going in and designing those yourself? Do you work with the designer and say, this is what I kind of wanted to do, and they kind of do the magic?
It's sort of like when I jump back into my art, like I just knew I was on the right path, because all these things kept popping up and like synchronicities. And I'd actually, when I started back with my painting just before the pandemic, I would put them up on Instagram, and then I would make a little like animation and put that up as like, hey, I've just made a new post. But I'd like spend an hour on it and make these little animations, and just for me. And they just like, they made me happy. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but like, I'm sure, I'm doing it because I like it and it makes me happy. But then I don't know how it happened. Someone mentioned AR, and I'm like, oh, hold on, right? So I start doing some research, and then I found an application where it allowed me to use the AR and view my paintings with the AR experience through the phone, and put it together. And I'm like, oh man, this is so cool. And like my brain just started going, right. I'm like, oh, I just want to do so much. I want to do so much. But it's quite time consuming. So, I mean, I did my first exhibition. It was an AR exhibition, and people sort of, they're like, what are you doing? They're like, this is really cool. I'm like, yeah, it's like living art. And I was like, I could actually sell like my art and call it living art, because I can update those animations like on a monthly basis or something like that. Like, I haven't done that yet, but you know how it goes. Ideas just like come to you. But now, so with the mural, that was like, I want to do a mural and I want to make it like an AR experience. I had no idea how I was going to do it, but like we ended up doing it and pulling it off, which was really great. So I would take a photo like every few hours of where we were with the mural, and then I'd create the animation on the fly and then put it all together. So I was a busy girl at that festival.
Yeah.
So then people could see the updated versions every few hours, So, wow. But yeah, I love it. And now it just feels like everything sort of is spinning in the same circle, and you can bring everything together. And like with the AR, like now if people buy one of my NFTs, and they can even go into my VR gallery, use their phone and have an AR experience in the VR gallery. Like it's so cool. It's just layered and layered and layered, Anyway, so
exactly. No, and that's one of the things I know we were talking a little bit before the show, that we're launching our first VR nightclubs now, and they've been in development for a few months, and we've got them up into one space, and we're gonna beta. The name of the club is Beta, but we're gonna beta launch it here shortly. So play on the term beta because it's our first one. But one of the things we're looking at doing is obviously having an NFT like curated gallery inside of the nightclub that we can switch out every month. And what kind of assets do we want to place in that gallery? Hello, Sarah, let's talk. People, while they're walking around our nightclub, could be like, what's this? And it can have a link. It says, you can get this NFT and get this right here. And then, like I said, we're curating, again, a virtual experience. It isn't just about coming into the club and it's about music. It's coming in and there's artwork in there too. There's networking, there's meeting. We're talking about having, full meet and greet experiences. Like, okay, say, Sarah, come and be in the nightclub too. You can meet the artist while they're in the club, or you could be DJing in the club as well. And then when you're done with your set, jump in a virtual set and kind of meet and greet and work with the audience in there. And then even walk around and say, okay, I'm going to be over here talking about this painting of mine, and you're curating this whole art exhibit inside a virtual environment.
I mean, it's amazing because like I was saying, I do the same in spatial, but I'm not at your stage yet, right? Because I can't get the bloody a live stream in there. But the idea which I could do in your club actually is something that I actually did here live in Ibiza last summer. Was it last summer or summer before? Which was, I want to DJ and paint at the same time, right? So we did a 4-hour set and did like a huge ass painting. Like, everyone's like, how are you going to do that? I'm like, I'm going to do it. I was like on a mission. And I got it done. I'm like, oh, that was so much fun. I was so focused, and music informs my work. So it sort of works. So that's like what I want to do on that live stream. I want to DJ and I want to paint at the same time. Then that becomes the NFT. Right?
So do you want so here's something we're looking at doing is actually making because as a creator, as the DJ sessions, one of our most primary assets is our video content that we produce.
Yeah.
We're not just producing like still images or, that, but we want to NFT our videos, and we're still determining what we want to do with those NFT, the videos. Like I could say, okay, some shows when you come on the show, they send a bottle of wine and say, or a gift basket, say, thank you for coming on the show. Yeah. We'd like to say, okay, here's an NFT of your show as a gift. But then we were looking at it from a standpoint of, okay, what if we had fans of Sarah Main and that fan wanted to buy the NFT of the interview that we did of her on the DJ sessions?
Yeah.
And then they could say, I own that. And one of the things I saw that went crazy just a few weeks ago on Twitter, did this, that if you upload your profile image and it's an NFT, they'll give you a little badge saying this is an NFT, you own this image. And was thinking, okay, how far down the line could that go? Something like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever the social media platform is, that if you upload that, it'll say this is an actual NFT represented. Like if somebody took a piece of your artwork and uploaded it to Facebook, they could say this person actually owns the NFT for this. This is not a screenshot of a copy or whatever. And that person go, oh yeah, see, I own this.
Yeah, and it's validated.
Yeah, and could this, and I'm very newbie, like I'm spending more time in VR and AR right now than I am the NFT realm because I have another guy that handles all that. Mm-hmm. But if Facebook or these places said you cannot upload a picture unless you have the rights to it. Like McDonald's could protect their imaging and say you can't upload a McDonald's image unless you have an NFT of that McDonald's image. Could it get to that?
It's going to change the world, like this stuff. You know what I mean? It's gonna.
And from a creative standpoint, I wouldn't be able to necessarily grab your artwork and use it as a screensaver on my computer.
Yeah, more right click and save.
Yeah, no more right click and save or right click down, and then you try to upload it into something that goes, sorry, you can't use this image. You don't have the NFT. So, I mean, yes, you might be able to go out there and I'm not trying to dictate a price or anything else, but you might be able to go out there and buy like thousands of images for a penny or for a dime or something like that. But at least you'd have the rights to all those images to use it. And there might be a limitation on how many of those would go out there. So that way there is some value to them if you wanted to push those out later. Like if somebody uses a screensaver and like all of a sudden 1 million people started using that screensaver, would that increase its value or in popularity? But there was only, I don't know. I mean, it can go a million places,
Yeah. Yeah,
And I think it's in the right.
It's like we're in such an experimental stage right now, and it's like we're all just trying stuff, right? And it's things are just going to land. Other things will just, go like be forgotten about. But some things are going to stick, and they're going to become part of our like future. So this is exciting. If we're out here trying things, maybe one of those things will be the thing that actually sticks. So yeah.
Now, when somebody buys one of your NFTs, and I mean, let's back up a second here. What got you into NFTs? Was it just the culmination of being in VR, AR, and saying, wow, the buzzword's coming up? Or was this something you were kind of following for a long period of time and said, this is something I want to look into? Or how did you get into it?
Yeah. I mean, it started with crypto.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like everyone, I guess. No, I started got into crypto last a year in December 2020, and then just started being a degen and leverage trading, and found a wonderful crypto currency called Luna from the Terra blockchain. I'm a total lunatic, if anyone knows what that means. Yeah, I'm deep in the Terra community. Big up to all the lunatics. We'll get there in the end. We're doing a music festival anyway called Lunafest. From that, being on Twitter and being in the crypto space and literally spending most of my day in there and in that world, the NFT idea was in my face. And then that got me thinking, oh my God, hold on, art, music. And I studied animation when I was younger. I'm like, I could bring this all together. Where can I go? This is the next, I was looking for the next thing. I'd done the AR and this and that. So that got me really excited. And then the possibilities started coming up. And then I just started playing around with stuff and didn't really know what I was doing. And now that I'm in the NFT space, I realize it's a little bit more than just making pretty art and putting it on the blockchain. There's a whole culture there. You got to go deep into the community. And it's really lovely because it's about artists supporting artists. That's how I feel. There are a lot of collectors out there, but a lot of those collectors are artists themselves. So it feels like we're all pushing the industry on our own. We're creating this sort of cycle of support, right? And then every new person comes in and goes, oh, this is the way you do it. So they jump in and then they start seeing all the art they want to buy and they start buying. And it just creates a big snowball effect of everyone supporting each other. And for me, I know they say that there's, NFTs are going to have this big NFT winter and all these projects going to go to the ground and it's, the fad's going to die. And that, I think that may happen for the PFP projects, but I have a feeling that with the 1-1 art, the original art that's being sold, I just can't see that losing its value because it's supported by the artists themselves, right? So we're the community, we're supporting. I can't see the artists go, oh, I'm not going to do art anymore. This sucks. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just a really exciting thing, but it's very time consuming and it's, it's like I say to people, oh, how do I release an NFT? I'm like, are you ready? Are you prepared? There may be certain things you have to give up, like your life, so right. And your sleep and, all those important things. So, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to cope with this in the summer, but I'm sure I'm going to do it.
You're ahead of the curve on all this. So, I mean, just like I was telling you before the show, that when it came to live streaming, we were 10 years ahead of the curve on everyone else that jumped on board. And I had already been doing it since 2007 and was podcasting since 2005. So online distribution was not new to me. But I never took it. I wouldn't say I didn't ever take it seriously. It didn't become serious till everyone else got on board. And I knew that moment when everyone started hitting me up and was calling me on the phone. How do I do a deal with copyrights? How do I get streaming? What cameras do I buy? How do I do this? What screens? And I'm just fielding all these calls. And I'm like, there's this wonderful thing out there called the internet, people. and I'm not your consultant. And
I know,
you're gonna have to lose.
I had to work it out, right?
You're gonna have to lose all the sleep. You're gonna have to figure it out because the system requirements that I give you that I own. Do you have $35,000 to go spend on? No. So my problem solving won't work for you, you know. But it was still there for the community, being there for the community, being able to help people out, and seeing them be so passionate about it. And that's what I think it really touched me with what you said, was that it's artists supporting other artists.
Yes.
And the artists are getting the support back now, or taking it and reining it back into their control, and holding the, you know, those rights and what they can do with their artwork. So
and now with the music as well. So like I've got a few friends on board with the art, and now I'm working on my producer mates. So I'm actually releasing my first art and music NFT on the 1st of March with my brother-in-law, right? Who's my brother-in-law because he met my sister because he was living with me because he was like my best mate.
Oh, right on.
DJ, and then he got the best of Ibiza DJ award, and he became a top producer, and now like he sort of fell off that, got married, became adulting and you know, grew up. Like, just sort of let his passion go. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're great. You gotta like come back. Like, look at this. Look what we can do. We can do anything. Let's just get out there and start experimenting. You know, like it's a free game for anyone. And it's so exciting. So yeah, I mean, we're going to do the first drop on Known Origin, and then do a few. We've got 4 drops ready for Known Origin, and then we're going to start like just branching out and seeing what's out there, you know, like seeing different avenues that we can go down, and maybe just specifically for music. It doesn't necessarily have to have art with it, does it? It could just be the track, and you know, could be a 2-minute sample, or like a 7-minute track, or like additions, or like but you're in control. And that's the beautiful thing, right? Because absolutely. For so many years, like in the beginning of house, like, you know, you'd make a #1 track and you'd make a fortune, right? You'd actually make money off making that track. And now it's got to a point where, you know, people don't make money off the music anymore. They get gigs, right? That's a known fact. We make music to get gigs. And that's not sustainable. Like, people are like pumping out their tracks. If they don't release a track every couple of weeks, and they fall off, like, you know, people's scope. So like, it's, you know, there's sort of lower quality music being produced because people feel like they have to keep giving out content. So this is a way, I think, for people to really bring back their power to themselves, right? And also be able to drop back into their pure creativity, because even my brother-in-law is like, oh my God, like, this is great because I don't have to think about pleasing a group of people. I just have to think about what sounds awesome to me. And then that's what we're going to release. I'm like, yes, absolutely. Anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. He almost just answered the next question I was going to ask you, okay. But I think, you know, I'll ask it anyways. If you could put one non-famous person in the spotlight who means a lot to you, other than your direct family or friends, who would that be and why? I
was going to say my son.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I have to, because he's so cute. And he's just like, we have a different model of education. He's a self-directed learner. And we have contact with a alternative school in Barcelona. And then they mentor him, but it's all up to him. It's basically, he gets to choose what he wants to learn. So, I mean, he does the normal stuff. He's very good with English and maths and blah, blah, blah. But like, his main thing is pixel art. Right?
Pixel art? Oh, pixel art.
Pixel art.
Yeah, pixel art.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he's just so good at it, right? And he's
you mean like pixel art? You ever seen one of these?
No, what's that?
It's a Davoom. I just got it sent to me for Twitch by being a featured partner. It's like a pixel art generator I haven't even opened it yet. It's like this really cool thing that you can bring pixel art and then display it in your room. You can put all different kinds of pixel art images in it.
I gotta get one for CJ.
Yeah, it's really awesome. They just sent it to me and I haven't put it up yet, but it's pretty cool.
Getting an early birthday present.
Yeah, I'll send you the information later. Yeah.
He's really, you know, and he's like 9 and he's so smart that he like, and then he makes up little stories with his characters, and then he, you know, he got them out there. He got his NFT collection up before me. And then he was doing the troubleshooting for me. He's like, Mom, no, like, you do it like this. All right, get it together.
Yeah.
So he's an absolute little ledge, right?
That's awesome.
So he deserves to be in the spotlight, and he's a wonderful human being. Like, he's just an angel. I'm very blessed. And then if there's someone else, maybe I'd say Odette Gegenheimer, who I'm the Swedish artist, who helps me out with the color and finishing paintings, because she's the one that I actually got into NFTs, right? And I told her what to do. I said, do this and do this and do this. She went out, she put a tweet out. She got like 1,500 likes on her tweet and sold 2 NFTs within like 4 hours.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So I was like, oh my Lord. Because I kept saying to her, your art needs to be in this space. It's so good. It's so perfect. And I finally gave her like small steps. I'm like, do that step and then do that step. And she did it, and boom. And now she's like, this is great, you know? So she's painting every day, and then she's like digitizing them. And yeah, so she's going to be in our art festival as well with her physical paintings. So yeah, big shout out to her.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know about before we let you get going back to awesome magical party land of Ibiza?
Okay, well, yeah, I could actually use this time to talk about Lunafest.
Yes.
Yes. So being part of the Terra community, the Terra blockchain, I've met a lot of the other lunatics and the other people working within the blockchain. And one guy came up with this idea of like, let's do a music festival, all run solely on crypto. So the DJs get paid in UST, which is the stable coin of the Terra blockchain, and everything runs on that. Like, even if you come in and you don't have any crypto, we have gateways where you have some sort of like wristband, and then you pay and it converts it to UST, and you know, so, and then you can be onboarded, and we're going to have like special speakers. We've got like a really, really top tier list of DJs and performers, which we're going to be releasing soon, which is really exciting, like a proper music festival. I think this one will be between like 5,000 or 10,000. We haven't sort of gauged yet how many people we're going to have there. It's at a stately manor in the UK, and we're going to recreate the whole thing. You're going to love this bit. Recreate the whole thing as it looks in the metaverse, so anyone from around the world can come and join us. Go to the talks, watch the performances on stage, you know. Yeah, so we got a lot of work ahead of us, but it's really exciting to be part of that project, and we're moving forward quite fast, so it's really exciting.
Is there an anticipated date on that yet?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like 2023, so
okay.
we've got time, but there's so many sort of moving parts to this that, yeah, we want to make sure that we get it right. So we're working hard already, pulling it together. So
the reason I ask is I'm glad there's a lot of time, because I want to definitely contact with you offline about this, because I can kind of announce it that the DJ Sessions is becoming the director of ops for VR, AR, XR, and live streaming at a facility down in Arizona. We're going down there this weekend to tour with a few of our DJs and check it out. But it's a 8,000 person capacity venue. And what we have rolling out with, I think I was telling you before the show, on our version 3, I think you might like to hear, everyone on your team might like to hear about what we have going on, because it's definitely next level. I'll say it here in the show. It's next level shit. It's like
Yay,
next level.
that's
Like people haven't seen it yet. And it's really cool. So we'll connect offline about that. But thank you so much for coming on the show, Sarah. Where can people find out more information about you and what you got going on?
At the moment, I guess just I'm most active on my socials, obviously Twitter, which is Sarah_Main. And then just on my Instagram, my art Instagram, which is SarahMain_art. And then my DJ Instagram as well, DJ Sarah Main, which I'll be firing up again. I guess it's been a little bit dormant. We're getting back on that, and my Facebook. I don't even know if my website, I've got my, I don't have my DJ website anymore, but like I've got sarahmainart.com as well. Awesome. to see all my physical paintings.
Well, we'll definitely stay in touch with you and reconnect with you here in the next few months. Would love to hear what's going on. And again, try to make it out there. I think Sonar Festival falls around the same time as you got Croatia. How far are those two away from each other? Are they a train ride? They're pretty far. Are they? I should know my geography. I should know my world geography.
Everything's fairly close in Europe, so
yeah. But planning to make it out there. Maybe I'll see you in Ibiza before that. But thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
No, it's been lovely being here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Find us on Twitter, hashtag us on Instagram or Twitter or wherever it is. Just find us, the DJ Sessions, or hashtag us TDJS if you're so bold. This is Darren and Sarah Main coming to you for the virtual sessions. And you know what happens on the DJ Sessions? The music never stops.